The desert is hands down one of the most unforgiving environments on Earth. We're talking scorching heat, shifting sands, and a brutal lack of water. But you know what? Life always finds a way. Welcome, explorers. Grab your sunglasses because in this explainer, we're diving into the extreme biological adaptations that allow some truly amazing animals to not just survive, but absolutely thrive in these harsh conditions.
It really begs the question, what does it actually take to conquer an ecosystem that is actively trying to dry you out? Well, I want you to shout hot diggity right at the screen to kick off this sunny adventure, because we are about to meet the survival squad. To make it here, these animals have evolved highly specialized biological toolkits that push the absolute boundaries of physiology.
Let's start with Section 1, Sandy the Camel, the ship of the desert.
Now, you've probably heard the myth that camel humps are basically giant water tanks. Well, actually, scratch that. It's a super common guess, but the fact is, those prominent humps actually store adipose tissue, which is just a fancy word for fat. Concentrating this fat on their backs instead of all over their bodies keeps them from getting overly insulated, which helps them stay cool. And here's the real magic. When food and water are scarce, their bodies metabolize this stored fat, generating not just vital energy, but actual metabolic water to keep them internally hydrated.
But when Sandy does find an oasis, oh boy, she certainly doesn't just take a polite little sip. She has this absolute superpower where she can gulp down 40 gallons of water in mere minutes. That is literal swimming pool status. Unlike most mammals, whose blood cells would burst from such rapid, massive hydration, Sandy has unique oval-shaped red blood cells. They expand without popping, which perfectly rehydrates her body and restores osmotic balance for the long journey ahead.
Moving right along to Section 2, Fennec the fox. Tiny fox, giant ears.
Say hello to the absolute smallest fox in the entire world. Darting around the cacti, Fennec relies on an unbelievable survival toolkit. First up, those ears. They are bigger than her head and act exactly like biological air conditioners. They're packed with blood vessels, and as hot winds blow across them, a process called vasodilation lets her body heat rapidly dissipate. Those same ears also act like parabolic reflectors, giving her super hearing to pinpoint bugs moving underground. And to handle the scorching terrain, the soles of her paws are covered in thick fur, acting like desert sneakers, so the hot sand never burns her toes.
Next up is Section 3, Spike the Thorny Devil, the spiky water walker.
If you spot this slow-moving creature chilling on a warm rock, you might think he looks exactly like a tiny dragon. Covered in rigid, calcified spikes, the thorny devil is basically a walking fortress. In a barren landscape, this armor is a genius way to deter predators, because let's be real, nobody wants a prickly snack. But it gets even better. When threatened, this lizard actually tucks its real head away and presents a spiky, false head located on the back of its neck. It brilliantly confuses predators and makes them entirely unswallowable.
But that armor hides a much more sophisticated biological secret. Consider this evolutionary puzzle. How on earth do you hydrate from a shallow puddle if your rigid anatomy prevents you from lowering your head to drink? The thorny devil doesn't use his mouth to sip from puddles at all. He has engineered a brilliant workaround to solve this exact problem.
It all comes down to a micro-engineering marvel known as capillary action. In the cool desert mornings, dew condenses right on the lizard's skin. A microscopic network of tiny grooves between his spikes acts like interconnected tubes. These grooves passively draw the moisture upward, totally defying gravity, and channel it directly across his body to the corners of his mouth. He literally absorbs hydration through his feet and skin like a giant sponge, maximizing every single precious drop.
And that brings us to Section 4, the Desert Sun Dance, a survival squad review.
Okay, before the sun sets on our adventure, let's celebrate all the amazing facts we've learned. While I won't literally force you to stand up, I definitely invite you to join the party for a quick survival dance. First, give me the camel sway. Gracefully sway side to side to channel that metabolic energy fat. Next, throw your hands up for the fennec ear twitch, cooling down those radar ears. And finally, give me a proud, slow, spiky stomp for the thorny devil's capillary action. Together, these traits represent an absolute masterclass in biological adaptation.
These animals prove that life doesn't just endure the desert, it engineers brilliant solutions to completely conquer it. It leaves us with a highly provocative thought. As human engineers look for new ways to build sustainable, water-efficient technology in our warming world, how much could we learn just by mimicking the survival blueprints these animals perfected millions of years ago? Keep learning, stay curious, and we'll see you on our next explainer.